Hey, what's up, people? You know, some of you asked me about Fox News stories, so I can give you some Fox News stories. Actually, there's so many. I was with Fox News as a business contributor for 10 years, over 10 years actually, from 2001 to 2012. Prior to Fox News, I worked at a number of different business networks. Just as a freelance guest, I was at CNBC. In the 90s, I was one of the first original guest hosts of Squawk Box when they launched that show, and they used to bring on a guest host to sit next to the host, who happened to be Mark Haynes, the late Mark Haynes. I was one of the first guys to start doing that. All right, so I was there. I did a lot of stuff with Bloomberg TV. I did, when CNN had their financial channel, I did CNN FN. And I actually started doing television in Europe, in London, in 1994. I was living in Switzerland at the time, but I had a lot of clients in London. I used to go over there, and they put me on TV, and it all started there on this little show called the European Money Wheel. All right. Anyway, Fox News stories. First of all, let me tell you something about the news business and television. Some of you may already understand this or know this, or kind of had a feeling about this. It's all crafted, folks. I mean, when you think, you know, you're getting a news story, it's always pitched in a certain way. You have producers. Whenever we did a show, and this is not just applicable to Fox News, I'll give you like a story about, you know, what happened to me, an example, or what I saw at Fox News, but it's crafted. You have a producer who, you know, they develop a kind of a topic that they want to talk about for a segment, or maybe for the entire show. We'll have a theme, and then it's presented in a certain fashion, and they'll go out and they'll book guests, and they'll ask the guests, even you know, people like myself who happen to be contributors. I was employed by Fox News. They would call me up, the producer, and say, okay, we're doing a show this Saturday, and here's the topic. What would your response be to this? Let's say the government's running out of money, okay, and we're going to go broke. And of course, I would say, that's ridiculous. That's not going to happen. And they're like, no, we can't. We're not going to be able to use you on this one, Mike. We'll bring you back on another one. So it's like they're looking for people who can pitch the line that they want. And a very specific example I'll give you. One time, I don't know, I think we were doing a show about the debt or something with the economy, you know, of course. And so they sent me the talking points of what we were going to discuss. And I was looking at it, and all of the figures were wrong. You know what? I don't remember exactly what it was, but maybe it was about the debt or the percentage or something like that. And I said, you know, these are wrong. And here you can get the right information if you want by just going to these. I gave them links, you know, to the Treasury, to the Fed. It's right there. You could just look it up. Maybe you want to correct that information. And they would say, no, that's okay. We want to say it the way we want to say it. So it's all crafted, okay? If you think you're sitting there and you're getting informed, you're not, all right? You're getting manipulated, and you're getting told a story. You know, it's basically an editorial that they're giving you, all right? This is not hard, cold facts. And so, like, I got tired after a while of not only that, but sitting on panels and arguing with people. They're not economists, and even if they were economists, they didn't know what they were talking about. But we had people, you know, comedians, we had professional wrestlers, you know, coming on. What do they know? What do they know? I mean, the economists are getting it wrong, and you're bringing on these goofballs. So it's all entertainment, all right? But the one story, and I wrote about this story, there are many, because I met CEOs, I met politicians, you know, I met celebrities, I met athletes, you name it, entrepreneurs, you know, lots of different people, famous people, well-known people, successful people. I met them in the green room. You have a conversation, you know, when they see you at a place like Fox News, and many of them had seen me before on TV, you have instant credibility, and they take you kind of into their, you know, their world, and they open up to you. They open up to you. But I remember having this conversation with David Stockman, and I think I talked about it on a video once, and it's, if you go to my blog, Mike Norman Economics, and you just search David Stockman, there's a bunch of stuff on there where he came in and we were talking in the green room, and he was going nuts about how, the debt, and it's going to implode, and the interest rates are going to skyrocket through the roof. And I said, no, David, it's not the way it is. I mean, we're a currency issuer. We set the rate. We're a monopolist in our own money. He said, no, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. The rates are going to go through the roof, and we're going to have to pay creditors, and they're not going to lend to us. I mean, all this absurdity, right? Like, who makes the dollar? Like, here's a guy, he was the budget director under Reagan. This guy had a high position, and you still see him out there. It's one thing that a goofball like Schiff talks about this crap, but this guy was in the White House. He was the director of OMB. So anyway, he goes in, he gives his talk, with Neil Cavuto, and then we leave, and then, like, I saw him again, like, I was maybe 6 months later, he's back, and I see him again, and this time, he goes off about how the Fed is keeping rates artificially low. And I said, David, the last time you were here, you said the market sets the rate, that it's going to go out of control, that the Chinese are not going to lend to us, that rates are going to spike, that it's not a function of the monopolist. And now you're saying it's a function of the monopolist, basically. You say the Fed is keeping rates so low, it's not right, I tell you. He's practically crying. So there you go, all right? And some of you have asked me, and privately or whatever, Mike, do you think this is some kind of, they really know the truth, but because they have a certain agenda, they have an ulterior motive, that they're hiding the truth and they're saying this stupidity? And I always say, no, I think they're stupid, and basically they have a belief system, and that belief system for them is so powerful that it precludes them from knowing the truth. They don't want to know the truth. They want to hang on to that belief system as much as possible. All right, I don't think they're smart, and I don't think they're, Machiavellian, and that they really know what the truth is, but they're putting out this kind of false line because it behooves them to put out the false line. I don't believe that. I think they're idiots. They're idiots, okay? Like so many we see on here. They're idiots, all right? And I've had many, many run-ins like that. I've had it with Jack Welch, who was, lauded as the greatest CEO of all time. I didn't think the guy knew anything about anything, all right? I had it with David Walker, who was the controller of the currency of the United States of America, who, has been going around for years now trying to say Social Security is going to go bankrupt. And I talked about this. I'm the only guy ever in the history of the world that has this guy on a soundbite when he was on my radio show admitting, and I have it. If you go to my blog, Mike Norman Economics, and you Google and you search for David Walker, you could listen to the sound clip where he says Social Security is never going to go insolvent. He says this, but yet he goes around the world, he goes around the country with this fear-mongering campaign trying to end Social Security. So these people are the worst of the worst, all right? But anyway, that's a little snippet of the news business. It's crafted, all right? It's editorializing, all right? It is cast. They cast the show, basically, who they want on to say a certain thing, and you could be the smartest guy in the world, and they could like you a whole lot, but if your answer is not what they're looking for, well, maybe they'll book you the next time when your answer is what they're looking for. So that's what it's all about, folks. That's what you're watching, and that's hopefully why you're watching the Mike Norman channel. Yeah. Bye-bye.